discuss the 18th April 2020 issue of the Economic and Political Weekly with you. I'm Leena Matthias, Executive Editor of the journal. I'll begin as I usually do with the editorials. The first editorial is titled Indian Federalism and COVID-19. It says that during a crisis, it becomes urgent to follow the principle of fairness to regulate center-state relations. It goes on to say that a crisis of the proportions that we are facing now can only be tackled by joint efforts of all political parties as well as all state governments across party lines. This would demand a decentralized approach and will empower the state and district level administrations. It also argues that the center and the ruling party would do well to listen to the opposition parties in the time of the crisis engendered by the pandemic. The second editorial is titled Plight of the Stranded Workers. It says India's urban economies depend on migrant labor who should not be treated like problems during a lockdown. It asks, why is it so hard to understand that these workers want to be with family and in familiar surroundings during a time that appears frighteningly uncertain and insecure? It goes on to say that beyond the blame game, the allegations and castigations for violating lockdown norms, the editorial took off on the mass gatherings that we witnessed on April 14th, not only in Mumbai but also in Surat, Hyderabad and other places, and says that beyond the allegations that followed, what came across is the desperation of the migrant labor to get back home. Now come to Professor Gopal Guru's column from the editor's desk. It's titled Coming to Terms with the Ethical. Professor Guru says that Indian scholars have not made adequate attempts to establish a relationship between the concept of ethics and the practice of formal politics. He says there is a need to explore the relationship between the two. And then he goes on to say that it is crucial to pose the question, are the ethical and emotional conditions not important in making the decision of the lockdown successful? After all, the success of the lockdown, among other things, also depends on emotional support being equally available to everyone. Our Law and Society regular monthly column is titled Mapping the Appointments and Tenures of Supreme Court Judges. It is an interesting column which I would urge you to read. In the commentaries, I would mention one which looks at skewed urbanization and the contagion. It also offers suggestions on inclusive urban land use. Another commentary we have in this issue is COVID-19 and the public health system in Bihar. It examines how exactly the healthcare system in that state is equipped to deal with the crisis of COVID-19. Among the book reviews, we have reviewed Passage from India to America, Billionaire Engineers, Extremist Politics, An Advantage to Canada and China. That is the title of the book. The second book that has been reviewed is titled Gender in Contemporary Education Research. Our perspectives, the article that we have published in our perspectives pages this time is titled reading Ambedkar in the time of COVID-19. It says the social distancing induced by the COVID-19 health crisis does not address the problem of deeper levels of distancing caused by social isolation and social nausea, two concepts used by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It also then goes on to look at the factors that can develop an Ambedkarite framework to understand social policy generally, but with more specificity to India. Among the special articles this time, I would like to draw your attention to one titled Caste, Prejudice and Infection. This article is based on a study of public hospitals in 3 states, and it looks at how ingrained caste prejudice against hospital cleaners affects the hygiene in these public hospitals. The other special article that I would like to mention here is titled Politics of Social Movements at the Margins. This article explores the learnings and experiences of activists in social movements, not only at the major national level, but also at a smaller level, which the focus is more on resistance to a certain kind of violation of rights. And it then, using these learnings and experiences, examines the concepts and processes behind a social movement. Our fortnightly postscript section, the back of the book section of the journal, so to say, has an article titled What's Urban Transport Planning Got to Do with Train Vendors? The author describes her work here as a feminist anthropological investigations of the life world of businesses run by women vendors on the suburban route of Mumbai's trains. And she makes an interesting point. She says that studying the labor lives of these women vendors will have a great deal to teach urban transport planning policymakers. She talks of how these train markets, how will they be affected, or rather accommodated, if at all, in the state-of-the-art air-conditioned public transport network, which is now set to become the primary mode in urban India. The other article in the postscript section is titled A Rendezvous with Art and Silence. I shall read you just one sentence from this. Art and silence are a strange and enigmatic mixture, says the author. This mixture is often a means to seek deliverance from the pretentious world outside. So friends, that brings me to the end of my discussion of this issue. Stay safe, stay hopeful.